as a person who silently spoke against your destiny. Archangel Michael caught their words before they could reach you. God said, "You are safe." My beloved light-bearer, a silent whisper was released against your name. Someone, hidden behind false smiles, tried to curse your journey, not with loud words, but with quiet poison. Yet before those words could ever take form, Archangel Michael intercepted them in the realm of spirit. What they meant for harm was dissolved by divine fire. You were marked for protection long before they even opened their mouth. Listen carefully. This is not a coincidence. There was a meeting in the unseen world, a conversation you were never meant to hear. In that invisible courtroom, accusations were raised against your destiny, and Archangel Michael stood up as your defender. His sword of truth cut through the shadows that tried to attach to your name. That's why lately, you've been feeling sudden peace after chaos, calm after emotional storms. It's because heaven fought for you, and you didn't even know it. When Archangel Michael moves, he doesn't argue, he acts. He saw the vibration of betrayal forming in someone's intention. He saw jealousy clothed in friendship, and he moved faster than their thoughts. Before a single curse could find you, it shattered like glass in the wind. You might have felt a sudden shift, a strange sense that someone's energy was blocked from your life. That wasn't rejection. That was protection. Child of the Most High, there's a message in this. When God calls you, no tongue can undo what heaven has already spoken. You are not walking in ordinary grace. You are walking under divine surveillance. Every plan against you is being intercepted in real time. Every hidden word meant to limit your destiny is being redirected into blessing. You are untouchable because your name is sealed under divine authority. Hold on, because what happens next will make you understand why they tried to stop you. This revelation is about to expose what was hidden all along. Type "I am safe" in God's hands in the comments if this resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 1188 has now been activated over your life. Dearest chosen one, there is something powerful happening around you right now. You may not see it with your natural eyes, but the spiritual atmosphere around your name has been rearranged. The very space that once felt heavy with unseen resistance is now vibrating with divine defense. When Archangel Michael moved his wings in your direction, a shield was established, not just to block the harm that was sent, but to return it back as light to its source. This is not punishment. This is justice from the throne of God. The one who whispered against you thought their words disappeared into silence, but silence is the loudest language in the spirit realm. And heaven heard it all. There are moments when betrayal doesn't shout. It moves quietly, wrapped in politeness, pretending to care while secretly hoping for your fall. But this time, heaven interrupted that vibration before it could take root. When Michael stood before the throne, he presented your name as one marked with divine purpose. He reminded the courts of heaven that your destiny was written in fire long before human tongues learned to speak. That is why no curse could find you, no weapon could land. The attack was cancelled before it even began. You might have noticed doors closing recently or certain people drifting away. But do not mourn what is gone. Every disappearance was divine strategy. God removed what your heart wanted to keep, to preserve what your soul truly needed. Child of eternal promise, understand this truth. When God hides you, it is not rejection, it is refinement. The whispers against you were intercepted, because you have entered a season where God is sealing your destiny for public unveiling. Archangel Michael is not just protecting you, he is preparing the atmosphere around you for elevation. You are about to step into a realm where your voice will carry spiritual authority, and the same ones who doubted you will witness your rise. Their words of negativity became the soil in which your testimony will grow. What was sent to wound you will become the reason others see the hand of God over your life. Even now, the Spirit of the Lord says, do not fear the unseen. You are not walking alone. The host of heaven has surrounded your home, your name, and your mission. The darkness that tried to approach you has already been judged. God Himself has declared you safe. You will not fall into confusion. You will not be delayed. You will not lose what belongs to you. What was spoken in secret will now be revealed for your vindication, not your harm. You are arising, not by chance, but by divine appointment. Trust me, what is about to unfold next will open your eyes to something much greater. Wait for it, because this next revelation is where heaven begins to expose the hidden motive behind that silent attack. Type I received divine protection in the comments if this is confirming what your spirit already knew. Blessing code 2244 has now been released over your destiny. Beloved warrior of light, now listen closely, for the Spirit is revealing something that very few ever discern. The attack against your destiny was not random. It was calculated, subtle, and spiritually designed to delay your breakthrough through emotional exhaustion. That person who silently spoke against you didn't just speak words. They released energy, intention, and vibration into the unseen. They thought their quiet jealousy would go unnoticed, but Archangel Michael saw the pattern of their thoughts even before they shaped their sentences. That is how heaven works. Before evil can move, divine interception stands ready. You are not fighting flesh and blood. You are walking through a battlefield of words, intentions, and unseen forces. Yet every arrow sent against your spirit has already been turned into a testimony waiting to happen. Archangel Michael has been guarding your path like a sentinel of divine justice. When he raised his sword in the invisible realm, every word spoken against you lost its assignment. Those hidden conversations, those secret opinions, those subtle manipulations, all were dissolved before reaching your atmosphere. That's why lately, you've been sensing relief from burdens you never fully understood. You may have felt strange fatigue, unexplainable emotions, or sudden spiritual heaviness. Those were fragments of warfare trying to touch your aura. But when Michael stood in your defense, heaven rewrote the energy around your name. The air shifted. The curse was reversed. And now, what was spoken to delay you is being transformed into acceleration. God is whispering this now. Do not fear the voice of man when you have the backing of heaven. Every time you walk in obedience, every time you keep your heart pure when others misunderstand you, heaven records it as righteousness. You have no idea how much your endurance has pleased God. Because of your quiet faith, a new decree has been issued in the realm of light. You are stepping into divine compensation. Every moment you were wronged is now being rewritten into favor. Every tear you sowed in confusion is about to return as harvests. Heaven's justice is not slow. It is perfect in timing. This is why you must stay aligned, not bitter. Forgive, but stay watchful. Love, but stay discerning. The same spirit that warned you before will continue to alert you when false energy comes near. You are being trained for spiritual authority, not for emotional reaction. What they said about you no longer holds power, because God has already said the final word. You are safe. If this message has touched your spirit, don't let it end here. Spread the light. Share this message so others can feel the same protection that is covering you now. Like, comment, and subscribe to this channel to stay connected with prophetic truth and heavenly insight. Let the world know that the voice of Archangel Michael still moves among us, defending the chosen ones of God. Child of God, when you give, You are not supporting a platform. You are sowing into the very mission that heaven is expanding through these words. Every seed you release becomes oil for another soul's deliverance. The word says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." This is not a verse. It is a living promise being activated for those who stand with divine truth. I personally invite you to become part of this prophetic movement through Super Thanks, channel membership, or the PayPal link in the description below. Your giving becomes a sound in heaven that says, "Lord, keep speaking through this vessel." When you release your gift, I decree open heavens over your finances, your family, and your future. This is not donation. This is a prophetic act of alignment. Step into your moment of obedience and let the flow of divine favor locate you now. Precious soul of destiny, there is something deeper that you need to understand about what just happened in your life. When Archangel Michael intercepted those words spoken against you, he did more than defend your name. He dismantled the root system of every negative intention connected to you. Sometimes, when God protects you, he doesn't just silence a person. He silences the entire chain of influence that tried to form around their energy. You see, words carry assignments, and every assignment needs agreement to grow. But in your case, heaven broke the circle of agreement before it could begin. Those who gathered to speak about you in secret found confusion instead of unity, division instead of alignment, and silence instead of strength. This is why some people who once stood together suddenly fell apart. It wasn't coincidence, it was divine disruption. God's mercy moved through Archangel Michael like fire across the sky, burning every word that tried to find you. There were sentences never completed, calls never made, and messages never sent, because heaven intervened mid-thought. This is how divine protection truly works. Sometimes you are spared from pain you never even knew was near. You think it's just a quiet day, but in reality, the Archangel's sword has just drawn a boundary around your soul. You are walking through an invisible fortress built not by your strength, but by God's covenant with your destiny. Right now, the Lord is speaking. I am closing the ears of your enemies. Those who tried to listen for your weakness will no longer hear your steps. Those who used your past as a weapon will now face your transformation. Your identity has been renewed under divine authority. The spiritual files of your name have been sealed, and every spirit of slander is losing its access. Even if they attempt to speak again, their words will sound empty, powerless, and void. For the Spirit of Truth has declared, "This one is mine." There is more. Because you endured false words with silence and grace, heaven has begun to write new decrees of elevation over you. Every false judgment is becoming a platform of vindication. The very people who question your authenticity will soon witness the evidence of divine favor. This next season will not be about proving your worth. It will be about displaying God's faithfulness. Archangel Michael has gone before you to prepare paths of peace where there were once traps of confusion. You will no longer walk through emotional ambushes. Every hidden agenda is being revealed before it reaches your doorstep. Pay attention to the atmosphere around you in the coming days. You may feel waves of calm that make no sense, or sudden releases of tension from your spirit. That is heaven rebalancing your energy field, restoring divine order to what chaos tried to disturb. Every storm has been commanded to bow before divine calm. You are safe not because nothing happens, but because nothing formed against you can remain. The word of the Lord stands. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Hold steady now, for in the next revelation, heaven will unveil the reason behind this protection. You will soon see why God allowed the exposure to begin quietly before the elevation arrived. Type "I stand under heaven's shield" in the comments if this word resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 4422 has now been activated over your life. Child of divine purpose, the reason heaven has been protecting you so fiercely is because something immense is about to break open in your life. You may not yet see it in the natural, but the spiritual realm already shows your name glowing with destiny. That is why the attacks came so suddenly and quietly. The enemy always tries to move his shadows right before the dawn. But Archangel Michael, standing in full brilliance, saw through the disguise. He knew that what was being formed against you was not just a casual word. It was an attempt to change the timeline of your destiny. The enemy thought he could delay you by sending confusion through whispers, but Michael intercepted the vibration before it could plant roots. You are now walking in divine synchronization again. Every word of negativity carries a certain frequency, and that frequency searches for weakness to attach itself to. But your aura is now surrounded by divine resonance, the sound of heaven's defense. That is why, in the past few weeks, you may have noticed moments of sudden relief after long periods of internal weight. You may have felt a release that you couldn't explain, as if invisible chains fell away from your chest. That was not coincidence. That was heaven restoring balance after spiritual turbulence. The angels have been busy untangling you from invisible threads of envy, resentment, and sabotage. Every negative word sent toward your purpose has been burned in divine light. You are walking lighter because the spiritual dust of others' judgments no longer clings to you. The Spirit of God is saying, "I have cleansed your name in the presence of the accuser." Those who tried to misinterpret your intentions, those who secretly rejoiced at your struggles, have already been confronted in the unseen. Heaven's response was not anger, it was separation. God did not punish them, He simply removed you from their reach. This season of distance is divine surgery. Some people had to lose access to you because their words had become instruments of delay. You were praying for peace, but peace required pruning. Every silent departure you've experienced was orchestrated by mercy, not rejection. Archangel Michael stands at your gate still, ensuring no remnant of that interference returns. Every night you rest, every moment you breathe, his sword is drawn in your defense. That is why fear can no longer find a home in your heart. The voice that once tried to speak against your destiny has been silenced. The power behind those words has dissolved like mist under the morning sun. God has rewritten your story, and the script now reads victory, restoration, and divine revelation. You are entering a phase where truth will begin to reveal itself naturally. You won't have to chase explanations or defend yourself. People will begin to see clearly who you are and who you have always been. The light around you will testify louder than any voice that rose against you. Those who stood in false judgment will become silent witnesses to your rise. The same mouths that spoke against you will be the first to acknowledge the hand of God over your life. Stay alert, because in what comes next, the Lord is about to show you the real reason this battle began. The hidden envy, the spiritual jealousy, and the deeper fear that your light awakened in others. Before you scroll away, know this: that revelation will not break you, it will build you. Type "I am untouchable" and God's grace in the comments if you feel the truth of this word stirring in your soul. Blessing code 5559 has just been released over your life. Beloved vessel of divine purpose, the moment Archangel Michael silenced those words spoken against you, a spiritual shift began to echo through multiple realms. You must understand this. When heaven intervenes, nothing stays the same. Every vibration of deceit, every false alignment, every hidden agenda begins to crumble like dust. God has been rearranging the layers of your destiny, so that nothing contaminated by jealousy or false association can follow you into the next chapter. The cleansing has not only been around you, but within you. The heaviness you have felt recently, the emotional weariness that came without reason, was your spirit being detoxified from unseen residue. The voices that spoke against you left traces of confusion, but Michael's sword has been cutting through those layers one by one until your inner clarity was restored. There is something sacred about divine interruption. Sometimes you may feel as though life has slowed down or even stopped moving forward, but that pause is God's hand, recalibrating your path. When those unseen words were intercepted, heaven didn't just defend you. It began rewriting your alignment. People who once carried access to your emotions were gently removed. Conversations suddenly ended, and opportunities shifted direction. It looked like rejection, but it was repositioning. Archangel Michael's mission was not only to stop the curse, it was to lead you toward divine connections that would accelerate your calling. God is replacing every false link with genuine ones. Those who carry light, not envy, faith, not comparison. The silence you are walking through is not loneliness. It is God's sacred space of renewal. And now, the Lord speaks, I have placed you in divine obscurity for a purpose. While the world grows restless, heaven hides its treasures until the appointed time. You are being hidden, not forgotten. The exposure you thought you lost was actually preservation. The moment Michael's sword moved, a seal was placed upon your name, an instruction to the enemy that no word of harm shall cross that boundary. The divine courtroom has closed its case concerning you. The verdict has already been spoken. You are safe, favored, and set apart. But hear this, heaven's protection is never random. God's shield surrounds those who are about to step into higher authority. What was meant to silence you was actually a signal that your voice carries weight in the spirit realm. The opposition came because your words are about to carry the same creative energy as divine command. Your prayers have been authorized to change atmospheres. This is why the enemy tried to taint your confidence with doubt, to make you question your discernment, to make you feel small in the presence of others. But now, that lie has no home in your mind. Archangel Michael has cut away every spiritual thread that kept you connected to that energy. You are rising as one who no longer reacts. You discern, you declare, and heaven responds. In this new atmosphere, even your silence carries power. You will notice that what once drained you no longer affects you. Conversations that once troubled your peace will fade quickly. That is the evidence that divine insulation has been completed. You are walking inside the shield of God's word, and within that realm, no accusation can survive. The ones who spoke against your destiny are now silenced by the peace that surrounds you. The divine exchange has taken place. Warfare for wisdom, heaviness for authority, and fear for faith. Stay tuned, for what is about to unfold next will expose the original root of the enemy's jealousy. Heaven is about to reveal why they targeted you and what your rising presence truly means in this hour. Do not miss this next revelation. It will open your eyes to how powerfully heaven sees you. Type I walk in divine authority in the comments if your spirit bears witness to this message. Blessing code 6644 has now been released upon you. Dearest Anointed One, heaven has now begun to unveil the mystery behind the attack that was sent against your destiny. The person who silently spoke against you was never truly your enemy in the beginning. They were once positioned close to your light, drawn to the warmth of your spirit. But what they could not understand was that your glow was not human charm. It was divine selection. When a person who walks without alignment stands too near divine favor, two things happen. Either they are transformed by the light, or they become agitated by it. In this case, the light in you exposed what they were unwilling to heal within themselves. The discomfort turned into silent resistance, and resistance became hidden resentment. Yea, even then, the mercy of God moved swiftly, allowing Archangel Michael to intercept the energy before it became poison in your path. The Lord wants you to understand that this was not just about protection, it was about discernment. You were asking heaven to increase your spiritual sensitivity, and this was heaven's answer. Sometimes God allows the whisper to surface so you may learn the difference between loyalty and presence. Loyalty stands with you even when unseen winds shift. Presence only stands when it benefits. The words spoken against you became the evidence needed to separate one from the other. Now you are entering a season where your discernment will sharpen and you will begin to see hearts as clearly as faces. The Spirit will warn you not through fear, but through knowing. When something or someone feels unsettled in your presence, it is heaven signaling you to move differently. You are not to confront, but to quietly withdraw, just as Michael did, acting with grace yet full of authority. You have also been wondering why the enemy would bother with someone like you. The truth is, those called to carry light always attract both hunger and opposition. Light reveals hidden things, and some are not ready to see themselves through that reflection. The silent words spoken against you were born from envy of your peace, not your possessions, jealousy of your purpose, not your position. But now heaven is reversing that energy, transforming it into your next season of elevation. The very areas they questioned will become the testimony of your divine favor. The more they doubted your future, the brighter your path will now shine. What they tried to restrict with words, God has now multiplied with grace. Archangel Michael stands by, watching the unfolding of this divine justice. He has not only blocked the attack, he has now released a blessing in its place. Every time someone misused your name, heaven placed another layer of light upon it. Every false narrative became a reason for heaven to add another testimony to your record. This is how divine reversal operates. It never simply cancels harm. It converts harm into higher honor. You will soon see people drawn to you for reasons they cannot explain. Your voice will carry peace where there was confusion, and your presence will heal what others could not articulate. That is the fruit of protection, divine empowerment born out of restraint. Hold on to this moment. The exposure was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to prepare you for authority. What's coming next is not another attack. It's the unveiling of your next calling. Heaven is positioning you to stand where few can stand, in full clarity, under full protection, and with full understanding of what divine justice feels like. Stay close, because the next revelation will show how the shift in the unseen will begin to manifest in your visible world. The season of silence is about to turn into a season of evidence. Type "I am covered by divine justice" in the comments if this word speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 7701 has now been released over your life. Child of the Most High, you are standing on holy ground in this very moment of your life. The battle that tried to find you has now become the platform that heaven is using to announce your next season. The silence that surrounded the attack was deliberate, because what was done quietly against you will now be corrected publicly in your favor. The same unseen forces that once plotted against your peace are now being commanded to witness your elevation. Archangel Michael has completed the interception, but now his mission shifts from protection to proclamation. He is declaring your name in the halls of heaven as one found faithful under trial. The vibration of your endurance has reached the ears of the Almighty. God has spoken, and the words echo through eternity. You are safe. You are chosen. You are mine. Every word that was ever whispered to limit you has lost its breath. The energy that tried to hold you back has been redirected toward your promotion. Those who doubted your strength will now witness the gentleness of your victory. You will rise not through anger or revenge, but through grace that cannot be explained. Divine justice works quietly yet thoroughly. It does not just remove enemies, it rewrites narratives. You are entering a time when even those who misunderstood you will be forced to testify of your favor. The conversations that once diminished your name will now become stories of redemption. Heaven is ensuring that the light surrounding you cannot be dimmed again. The Lord is saying, I am turning what was spoken in darkness into the sound of breakthrough. The same spiritual ears that once listened for your downfall are now hearing the frequency of your ascension. This is the hour of divine visibility. The walls that hid your greatness are crumbling. Your voice is being amplified for purpose, not pride. God has chosen to use your endurance as evidence of His covenant. That is why Archangel Michael has not left your side. He now guards the gates of your opportunity, ensuring that what is meant for you will find you unhindered. The very delay that once frustrated you has turned into divine timing. Nothing is lost. Nothing is wasted. You must understand, beloved, that your rise is not only personal, it is prophetic. Every time you survive what was meant to silence you, you open a pathway for others who are still in their battles. That is why your testimony must be shared. Speak it, post it, proclaim it. Let others know that divine protection is not a story, it is a living reality. If this word has touched you, do not keep it hidden. Like this message, share it and let your light become part of heaven's ripple of deliverance across the earth. Your engagement carries weight. Your agreement releases acceleration. Subscribe, comment, and declare the glory of what God is doing through these messages so that more hearts can awaken to divine truth. Type I rise unto heaven's command in the comments if your heart knows this word is for you. Blessing code 8855 has now been activated over your journey. Beloved soul, when you sow into this mission, you are not giving to a voice, you are fueling heaven's movement. Each prophetic message that reaches a weary heart exists because someone, somewhere, decided to keep this light burning. The word says that when you give, you become a laborer in the harvest. I invite you, with divine urgency, to step into this sacred exchange. Every super thanks, every membership, every seed through PayPal link in the description is more than support. It is a prophetic act that says, Lord, use me to carry your fire further. As you give, I declare rivers of restoration over your household and open heavens over your finances. Your gift becomes oil in this lamp of revelation. Do not delay. This is your moment to act, for obedience always opens the next gate of blessing. Chosen vessel of the living God, you are now entering the realm where everything that was once hidden begins to surface. The exposure has begun, not to shame, but to set you free. The person who once spoke against your destiny is being shown for who they truly are, not by gossip or confrontation, but by the quiet orchestration of divine truth. God is not revealing this to satisfy curiosity. He is revealing it to bring closure. Heaven never exposes without purpose. What was once concealed in the dark corners of conversation is now being illuminated under the pure light of justice. Archangel Michael has turned the page of your story, and the next chapter begins with revelation, restoration, and renewal. You may notice that certain truths are coming to you without effort. People may begin to speak words they didn't plan to say, or circumstances may unfold that confirm what you always sense deep within. This is the work of the Holy Spirit aligning reality with discernment. You are no longer walking in guesswork. You are walking in revelation. Every lie that tried to define your identity is collapsing. The web of manipulation that was spun against you has lost its structure. Those who once operated in secrecy are now confused because their schemes no longer hold energy. You have been elevated to a higher frequency of truth, where deceit cannot survive. That is why your peace has returned so strongly. Truth has replaced tension. Archangel Michael is not only a warrior, he is a revealer of divine order. When he caught those words before they reached you, he also gathered evidence to present before the courts of heaven. Every thought of harm, every hidden motive, every envious intention was brought into the light. The verdict was clear. You are innocent, you are protected, and you are chosen. Now that verdict is manifesting on earth as divine vindication. The same people who misjudged you will soon see the undeniable proof of God's hand on your life. The very atmosphere around your name has changed. It now carries favor where it once carried controversy. Heaven has rewritten your narrative, and no one can undo what has been decreed. Understand this. Vindication is not about proving others wrong. It is about God proving himself faithful. You were never called to defend your name. Heaven has already done it for you. What you are about to experience will not be loud, yet it will be undeniable. Blessings will begin to unfold without explanation. Doors will open where there were none, and peace will surround you where turmoil once lingered. Every blessing that arrives in this season carries a message from heaven. What was meant for harm has become harvest. As this divine reversal takes shape, keep your heart soft. The exposure is not for revenge, but for release. Forgive the ones who spoke against you, for they became instruments of your preparation. They pushed you closer to discernment, to prayer, to the presence of God. Without their whispers, you might not have learned how to hear heaven this clearly. The test was painful, but it awakened your prophetic sight. Now you will never again mistake a counterfeit for a covenant connection. Something even greater is coming, for God is about to reveal not only who spoke against you, but why you were targeted in the first place. It was never personal. It was prophetic. You are carrying an assignment that threatens the realm of darkness, and the enemy tried to silence it before it began. Hold on, because the next revelation will show you the magnitude of the mission hidden inside your life. Type "I receive my vindication" in the comments if this word witnesses with your spirit. Blessing code 9,933 has been activated over your path. Beloved child of the eternal flame, the Lord is now revealing the true magnitude of what was at stake when Archangel Michael intervened on your behalf. The silent words spoken against your destiny were never simply human emotion. They were a spiritual attempt to disconnect you from your divine alignment. The enemy recognized that your next phase of obedience would unlock something generational, something that would touch lives far beyond your own. That is why the opposition came subtly, through familiar voices and friendly tones. It was not the loud attacks that threatened your journey, but the quiet manipulations that carried invisible power. Yet in that stillness, heaven acted faster than darkness. Michael's sword cut through the web before it ever touched your energy. You were rescued from an invisible trap long before it could manifest in your physical reality. Every time you sensed confusion, every time you felt emotional heaviness, without cause, that was the vibration of those words trying to reach you. But your spirit refused to host what was never assigned to you. God's light within you repelled their intention like fire repels darkness. What they meant for delay has become the very thing accelerating your purpose. You are now walking in a divine timeline, uncorrupted and pure. The attempts to derail your peace have become the reason you are stepping into deeper discernment. Heaven used their whisper to sharpen your hearing. Every wound turned into wisdom, every rejection turned into revelation. That is the paradox of divine defense. It transforms opposition into opportunity. Now, the heavens declare over you, no weapon formed in word or thought shall prosper. You have become untouchable not because you are perfect, but because you are positioned. God has stationed his angels around your name as guardians of destiny. You will notice in the coming days that people who once drained your spirit will fade quietly, while new alignments appear effortlessly. This is not coincidence, it is divine rearrangement. Your spiritual frequency is no longer compatible with mediocrity. The old circles cannot hold what the new season requires. You have been upgraded in silence. Archangel Michael has repositioned your destiny into a higher orbit of grace. Do not be alarmed by the sudden stillness around you. The absence of noise is not emptiness, it is establishment. Heaven is building a foundation under your feet that cannot be shaken. The Spirit of God is pouring fresh oil upon your purpose, cleansing your timeline of every trace of contamination. Every time someone spoke against your destiny, a layer of grace was added to your name. Now that grace has matured into authority. You will soon realize that the very area where you were attacked is where God will now anoint you to lead. The attempt to silence your purpose has made your voice more necessary. The Lord is saying, you will speak, and hearts will awaken. The same fire that defended you will now flow through you. Words of healing, peace, and wisdom will rise from your spirit like rivers of light. You were not only protected from destruction, you were prepared for dominion. The angelic realm has witnessed your endurance and now celebrates your emergence. You are no longer a survivor of warfare. You are a carrier of victory. Keep your heart steady, for in the next revelation, God will show you how this unseen battle has positioned you for public purpose. The covering that once shielded you in silence is about to reveal you with favor. What was intercepted privately will now be manifested publicly. Type "I am rising in divine power" in the comments if your soul bears witness to this truth. Blessing code 1010 has just been released upon your life. Precious soul under divine command, this moment in your journey marks a sacred crossing. You are moving from hidden protection into visible fulfillment. What was once defended by Archangel Michael in silence is now being revealed as victory in plain sight. The same forces that once tried to speak against you are witnessing the unfolding of what they thought they could hinder. Heaven's justice does not merely silence the enemy, it exalts the one who stayed faithful. Every delay you faced has now turned into preparation. Every setback was a seed of refinement. You were being carved by unseen hands into a vessel that could carry greater power without breaking under the weight of blessing. Now, that preparation is ending, and manifestation has begun. Archangel Michael did not just block an attack. He preserved the original design of your destiny. There are things written in the language of heaven about you that no human word can cancel. Before time began, God saw this moment, and he decreed your safety. That is why, even when it looked like everything was falling apart, something in your spirit refused to collapse. That inner resilience was not natural strength. It was the whisper of heaven reminding you who you are. You were never created to be crushed. You were created to reveal endurance. When those against you spoke in hidden places, your name echoed louder in celestial spaces. Heaven's verdict was spoken long before the enemy formed a plan. You will not be touched. Look closely now at your own life. The patterns are shifting. What once seemed impossible is becoming effortless. The same roads that led to rejection are turning into routes of restoration. People are beginning to recognize the grace upon you, not because you demanded recognition, but because light cannot remain unseen. This is how God operates. He turns private pain into public proof of his power. The exposure that began in whispers will now finish in wonder. And those who doubted your worth will find themselves watching as your testimony unfolds, not with arrogance, but with humility and undeniable favor. The Lord is also saying that you are being given authority to speak peace into places of turmoil. The sword that once defended you is now placed symbolically in your hand, not to harm, but to heal. Your words, when spoken under divine direction, will carry the same protection that once covered you. You will speak, and confusion will still. You will declare, and fear will break. You have been through enough warfare to know what true peace feels like, and now that peace will flow through you into the lives of others. Archangel Michael will accompany you as a witness to every assignment God places before you. His presence around your life signifies not only protection, but promotion in spiritual rank. What happens next will astonish even you. Unexpected messages, divine encounters, and sudden breakthroughs will begin to appear. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. They are signs that the heavenly decree is manifesting. The attacks were real, but the protection was stronger. You were never the target of destruction. You were the target of destiny. And now destiny has caught up with you. The words that once sought to curse you have become blessings in disguise. Do not miss what comes after this. The final revelation will not just explain why you were protected. It will reveal the prophetic purpose of that protection. Heaven did not save you only for survival. Heaven saved you for service. The last unveiling will show what your protection was preparing you to do. Type "I am ready for my divine assignment" in the comments if your spirit bears witness to this word. Blessing code 1111 has now been sealed upon your destiny. Beloved child of the throne, the final unveiling has come. You have walked through the shadowed valley of whispers and emerged into the open field of purpose. What the enemy meant to shatter you with has become the very anointing that defines your calling. The words spoken against you were meant to fracture your identity, but God used them to fortify your foundation. Every unseen conversation that carried your name became an altar where heaven recorded your endurance. You did not fight back with noise. You waited in silence, and that silence became your strongest weapon. Because you did not retaliate, heaven vindicated. Because you trusted instead of feared, the courts of heaven released a decree of completion over your life. Archangel Michael stands now not as your defender, but as your witness. The battle is over, and your name has been sealed in light. The Lord says, "You have been hidden under my wings long enough. Step into the sunlight, for this is the hour of evidence." What was intercepted has now been transformed into revelation. The energy once sent to harm you has been purified into favor. The same spiritual currents that once carried resistance are now carrying opportunity. Every door that was delayed has begun to open. Every promise that felt distant is now drawing near. The angels who once formed a wall of protection have now become wind at your back, pushing you toward purpose. The season of survival is ending, and the season of stewardship begins. You are no longer one who needs to be defended. You are one who carries the authority of the defender. Look carefully around your life. The atmosphere is changing. Even in your silence, doors are responding. Your presence will now bring peace into rooms where confusion once lived. That is the sign of divine promotion. Archangel Michael is guiding you into assignments where your light will heal others who are still caught in unseen battles. You are called to remind them that divine protection is not a myth, but a reality. Your story will awaken faith in those who think they have been forgotten. You have been chosen to carry this message of divine safety into the world. And as you speak, the same fire that shielded you will cover those who listen. That is your calling. You are now a living testament of the line between danger and deliverance. The Spirit of God says, "Go and shine, for your light carries the record of victory." Every scar you bear is a signature of grace. You are not rising to boast. You are rising to bless. The protection you received is meant to multiply through your obedience. Heaven is releasing you now into influence, not worldly, but spiritual. Your peace will attract those in warfare. Your calm will quiet storms. Your words will pierce through confusion. You are stepping into the authority of one who has walked through fire and come out refined. The person who once spoke against you has no power left, for the matter has been closed by heaven. The final decree stands. You are safe. You are chosen. You are sent. If this message has spoken to your soul, declare it boldly. Comment below, like, and share this message so others may find strength in the same light that found you. Subscribe and stay connected to these divine revelations that continue to flow through the voice of heaven. Together we will spread the testimony that God still defends his people through Archangel Michael, and that no word of darkness can prevail against a destiny sealed by divine fire. Type "I am sent by heaven" in the comments if your spirit receives this message. Blessing code 1212 has now been released over your mission. Beloved messenger of light, if this revelation has stirred your spirit, then you already know what heaven is doing here. This is more than a video. It is a ministry of divine restoration. Every word spoken here carries the oil of awakening, and your support keeps that oil flowing into the lives of others. When you sow into this work through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a voice. You are partnering with heaven's expansion. The word declares that those who water others will themselves be watered in abundance. As you release your seed, the same covering that has followed these messages will rest upon your house. Your giving becomes fire upon the altar, summoning favor to visit your home. This is not a suggestion. It is a prophetic invitation. Step into this moment, and may rivers of provision flow without limit over your destiny.